Hi Fude lovers, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do my current Sonia G Face and Cheek Brush collection, and this video was requested from some friends from the Fude Facebook group, so I appreciate you guys' suggestions. And as always, I will leave the Fude Facebook group linked below if you're interested in joining. And without further ado, we're gonna try to get through this as quick as possible. I tried to lay them out as best I could to get them all in frame, but as you can see, it was a little bit tough. But I definitely wanted to get this video up since Sonia G just released her new fundamental brush set, which look absolutely beautiful, but I do have quite a few of them in the original Sonia G handles, so I definitely wanted to show this, and I hope it is helpful. So first we're going to start out with the classic face, and this was from the Kiyaki set. Now this brush is now known as the Fundamental Classic Cheek, and it's 33 millimeters in length, dyed and undyed Psycho Goat. And to be honest, I was pretty tempted to pick up the new one just to have it in the full size handle. This brush has really beautiful movement on the skin. And what I actually use this brush for personally, because it's in the travel Kiyaki set handle, is I actually bring this brush with me for touch-ups. So whenever I'm going somewhere out to eat, traveling somewhere, I really love this brush with touch-ups. It really picks up powder beautifully, and yeah, I just really love this one, and I do think it would be absolutely stunning in the full-size handle. Really soft, and again, it's got perfect movement. Really nice brush. I like it a lot, and I like it even more than I imagined. I use it quite a bit, so, and it fits perfectly. I do love the Kiyaki handle because it fits perfectly in my little makeup bag. All right, and then the next one here we have is the Sonia G Designer Pro. And this one's 33 millimeters in length, and it's dyed Psycho Goat. This was one of my favorite Sonia G brushes for quite a while. Due to its shape and size, it is very versatile. So I've used this with blush, highlight, under eye powder. You could even use it for target setting. Really, really nice. I love the shape. It's very unique. Soft as always. This is a really nice one. And I must admit I haven't used it in quite a while, but it is a really nice brush. Like I said, very versatile. So if you were somebody looking at maybe gifting a Sonia G brush to someone, I would say this would be one of them, just because it can fill so many different tasks due to its shape and size, so that's what's so great about it. And the next one here I have is no longer available. This is her Sculpt 3, and it's dyed Psycho Goat. However, it is the same exact measurements as the Fan Pro, but the Fan Pro is undyed Psycho Goat. Let me see here. And the Fan Pro, so it's 20 millimeters in length. And again, as you can see, they are the same exact brush, only one is dyed and one is undyed. And these are actually my favorite highlight brushes in my entire collection. I really like targeting highlight to get the highlight exactly where I want it. And both these brushes perform beautifully. So if you did miss out on the Sculpt 3, I do feel like the Fan Pro is a beautiful option just because it's the same exact brush, just undyed. And that of course makes it more versatile because you're able to use the undyed version with creams and liquids. And then the next one here is the Cheek Pro. So this one is 30 millimeters in length, Psycho Goat hair, dyed Psycho Goat. And I love this brush. This is another great versatile brush. If you had somebody where you wanted to gift them a Sonia G brush, this would be another one, because you can use this with blush, bronzer, you could even use it with Target setting powder, and it's got really lovely density to it. Soft as always. In fact, I love it so much, I actually own 2 Cheek Pros. And this is a perfect example, as you could own the same brush and one might be a little bit different than the other. And that's what I love about Japanese Fude, is they're all handmade, they're all hand bundled, they're all gonna have their own characteristics. You can see this one's a little bit more wide, but then again, I have kept this one in a brush guard. So of course, when you keep brushes in brush guards, you can see it's more compact. But even before I did that, I remember it being just a little bit different, the shapes. But this one, you know what's great about the dyed goat is they pick up powder so effortlessly and easily. So if you have like a baked gelée product or product that's hard to pick up, these dyed Psycho Goat really grab onto the powder, picks it up quite a bit, but it also has a really great blending power. And the next one here is the Sculpt 2. So this is now known as the Fundamental Fan M, 27 millimeters in length, and it's dyed Psycho Goat. Mine I've kept in a brush guard, so normally it actually flares out quite a bit more. But what's super nice about this brush is look at that density. That's what's so great about Sonia's fan brushes, is they've got really nice density. You can see just how thick this ferrule is, how much hair is actually packed into this ferrule, and it gives you really good control. I've actually used this with one of my smaller Tom Ford bronzers because it really fits in that pan perfectly, and I loved the way it dispersed my bronzer. You can just see how thick it is. Nice to see this brush come back. I'm happy for those who have missed out on it, because this is a really nice one. And to have it in that new beautiful handle, oh, I can only imagine how beautiful that combo. But honestly, her classic handles are just so unique, and there's nothing like them. I'm thankful to have the classic handles because, and it just brings back like memories. I have to say, Sonia G was truly one of the people who opened my eyes to Fude and really made me fall in love with the art and craftsmanship behind these brushes. So I'll always have such a special place in my heart for Sonia G and her brushes. She really knows how to craft brushes just beautifully, and oh my gosh, she's such an inspiration, honestly. So that's a really nice one to pick up if you guys are interested. And the next one here is the Sculpt 1, which is now known as the Fundamental Fan L. And this is 35 millimeters in length, and it is Hakututsu Goat. So this one is not going to be as soft as, say, like dyed Psycho or even regular undyed Psycho. However, it is going to be really good at picking up those hard pressed powders. So you don't always want the softest goat in your collection, unless of course you have sensitive skin, that I wouldn't exactly recommend it, but it's also not scratchy. So it's intended to be able to have strength to those bristles. You could see how strong these bristles look as they move across the skin. And same with this one. You can see how thick the ferrule is from the side and how much hair is packed in. So it really picks up bronzer beautifully. I remember when I first got this brush, I actually got a backup because it was one of my favorite bronzer brushes of all time. And as my collection grew, I did actually sell my backup, but I am thankful to still have one in my collection. And you can see how thick it is. Just a really nice fan brush. I haven't really seen any others like it. Like for instance, the Hakuhodo F1342. You can see how much thicker. Actually, they're pretty similar, but to the naked eye, the Sonia G is thicker from the side view. And you can see how much thicker it is head on. So it's just truly unique. And again, even though it's not side coho goat, it is still soft enough for me personally to where it doesn't feel scratchy. But it's that brush I know I can use if I'm looking for a brush to really be able to pick up that product without nearly any effort, really. And then next one here is the Jumbo Bronzer. So this is one of her newer brushes, and this one is 47 millimeters in length, dyed side coho goat hair. Now mine I have kept in a brush guard, so normally it flares out. I'm sure you guys have seen quite a bit more than mine looks right now, but due to my storage, I do have to keep some brushes in a brush guard just so that they're safely stored away. But this brush is really nice. You can see not as thick as the Tom Ford at the bottom here. And I wish I brought out my Tom Ford to compare, but this video would have been way too long. Maybe in another video I can do some comparisons, but it's got just perfect density here, flares out here. And even though it's a large brush, I love this with bronzer. I think it does a beautiful job. Still has really nice glide and movement on the skin. You could, of course, use this with setting powder if you'd like. But for me personally, I really like this brush with bronzer, and that's really what it's intended for. And the Sky series handles are just stunning, the way they glisten with the blue. The red is beautiful as well, but something about the blue, they're just so special. Really, really beautiful. And then the next one here we have is the Niji Pro, and this is dyed and undyed side coho goat, and it's 37 millimeters in length. Just like my Jumbo Bronzer, this one has been kept in a brush guard, so it does normally flare out quite a bit more. But this one you can see is a little bit more crimped at the ferrule, but has a lot of bristles packed in. This brush is very dense. You can see there's not as much movement. It still has movement though. Even though it's quite a bit dense, the movement is still really nice on the skin. So this is another one where if you have hard to pick up products, beautiful with those products. Like I have my Charlotte Tilbury face palettes that have Baked Chalet bronzers, and this one picks it up really nice, and it just has amazing blending power. It can pick up a little too much if you use it with the wrong product, so you have to make sure you know which brush you're using with what product and what it works best with, because what this is intended for, it really does a lovely job, and it's very soft. I really would love to see Sonia do this color mix again. I think it looks so beautiful, and it reminds us of those Hakuhodo dyed and, or I'm sorry, goat and squirrel mix. The hair just looks very similar. Beautiful presentation. And the next one, which is now back in stock, so I'm excited to show this. This is the Sonia G Master Face, and this one is 38 millimeters in length, dyed and undyed side coho goat. And I actually really love the dyed and undyed of this mix as well, because it just, the presentation is beautiful. This brush, really nice with if you're a powder foundation girl. I'm not personally, but if you like powder foundation, if for instance I have my Dior Backstage powder, pressed powder, and it's really tough to pick up with certain brushes, but this brush picks it up really nicely and disperses it on the skin, blends it in a beautiful manner. This is a gorgeous brush, and even with the price increase coming, it's not a substantial price increase, so I would still highly recommend this brush. If you like round brushes and maybe you like powder foundation, or you could even use it with setting powder, it's going to really pack it on quite a bit due to its density and shape. But depending on your preference, you could potentially, if you keep it in a brush guard like I do, you could potentially use this with bronzer as well. Or if you like your blush a little bit less targeted, you could even use it with blush as well. Really, really nice brush. And then we have here is the Face Pro. So this one is 45 millimeters in length, dyed and undyed Saikoho goat. Love this brush. This was one of my favorite Sonia G brushes I had ever purchased at one point. So much so, this is another one that I actually have a backup of. So I have two Face Pros. Oh my gosh, I love this brush so much. And I will say, so you could use this with, there we go. You can use this with powder, bronzer. Me personally, I really love this brush with bronzer. At one point I had one designated for bronzer and one designated for powder because I just loved it so much. But as my collection has grown, having backups is just really excessive. So, but I mean, we do see Sonia's brushes changing as the market changes. So I really don't mind having backups of certain ones in case I ever travel or they no longer become available. It is nice to have backups, but this one is gonna pick up quite a lot of powder. So let's say you're somebody with dry skin. I would not recommend using this for setting powder, but if you wanna use it strictly for bronzing, it's a really nice bronzer brush. And it's gonna give you a really nice diffused application of bronzer. It's not gonna be as targeted due to its shape, but it still has really nice movement. And then we have here is the Face 1. So this one is now known as the Buffer Pro, 30 millimeters in length, dyed Saikoho goat. Mine is from the original stock of this brush. So when it first came out, mine is the original. And look at that density. And it is so soft. Some of these brushes, I'm just so thankful I was able to obtain them when she first released them because I feel like it's just got so much density. And if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know I don't own many flat top brushes, so I'm super happy to have this one in my collection. I've used this with powders like my Dior that are really hard pressed. I've also used this with, you could use it with like finishing powder such as the Guerlain Meteorites. Really nice brush for that. Oh, it's just gorgeous. I actually need to use this brush more. It's been in storage and it's just lovely. And it kind of makes me want to get some more flat tops. I know some of you love flat top brushes and I can see why, and I really should get into collecting more flat tops because they are really versatile. I mean, I'm sure some people have used these with bronzer, blush. You could definitely use this with blush. A little bit big, but if you don't mind your blush, you know, being a little less targeted. Really nice, versatile brush for sure. And then we're gonna get into the Fusion series here. So this one is the Jumbo Base. And unfortunately, right now as we speak, it's currently out of stock, 27 millimeters in length, and it's synthetic and Saikoho goat hair mix. Now there has been talk from Sonia that she is going to try to bring some of these brushes back, which is fantastic news because we all love and adore these Fusion series brushes. So much so, I own two Jumbo Bases. Absolute. Honestly, if I can only have one foundation brush in my collection, it is definitely the Jumbo Base. I have not used any other foundation brushes since I purchased these. These are my favorite. I used to use the BK Beauty one, but like the shape is just amazing. You can get like right between the nose, you know, where it's hard to get foundation in there. And just the way it blends my foundation every single time, it's just incredible. And the synthetic mixed in, these are really high quality synthetic fibers. It's super soft, super velvety, even though it's Saikoho goat, which is good because it's going to be more durable for creams and liquids. the softness is just still really, really nice. I never feel a single pokey hair on this brush when I use it with foundation. And it's great with all sorts of different foundation formulas. Like I use it with my favorite Dior Backstage foundation, and it works like a dream. And I was really sad when I first saw that they were being discontinued because they're loved by so many. But then now I'm glad to hear that she's gonna do her best to bring it back due to popular demand. So that is wonderful news. So definitely keep an eye out to see when her restock will be. And then here we have the classic base. So this is 27 millimeters in length, synthetic and Socoho goat fibers, synthetic fibers and Socoho goat. And this is another one, people really love this one with foundation. Me personally, I love this brush with cream bronzer. This is my cream bronzer brush, even cream blush too. I just feel like it is the perfect shape, size, density. And I just love how her goat and synthetic brush mixes look. Like they just look so stunning. And it's almost like they match the dyed and undyed goat hair brushes. Like as a set, they just cohesively go together so well. And then here, this is another one loved by many. This is the mini base. So this one here is also currently out of stock. It's 23 millimeters in length. Again, synthetic fiber with Socoho goat. Hopefully she'll bring these back because, oh my gosh, this brush, I know many love it with cream blush, even cream bronzer, cream contour. I love this brush for some reason for under eye concealer. I don't know what it is, but it just blends my under eye concealer so nice. Like if I just tap under the eyes, blends like a dream. It blends in 2 seconds. And this is another one I own 2 of. I've got the mini base in the Kiyaki set as well. And again, you can just see, even though it's the same brush, you're always gonna have slight differences. Like this one's a little bit more squared off, my Kiyaki one, and this one's a little bit more targeted. I don't know if it's because I've used the Kiyaki one a little bit more, but you can see for some reason this one has more resistance than this one. Ever so slightly, but they're still the same brush, and I still love and adore and use both of these so much. So especially when you're using creams and liquids, I think it warrants having backups because they're gonna take more of a beating than your powder brushes would. So I have no regrets owning 2 of those. And here it is next to the classic base. Going over so many brushes, I'm almost forgetting the names. But you can see how much smaller the mini base is. It's like the same brush, just a little smaller. So really all depends on your preference and how you like to apply your creams and liquids. But mini base is definitely going to be really versatile due to its shape, but honestly, so is classic base. So if I had to choose, it would be really hard, honestly, because I use them both for different techniques, different applications. And then here we have the Hinoki set. So this is the brush number 1, 37 millimeters in length. Look at this presentation here. These Hinoki handles are just beautiful. In person, even more stunning. You've got the cranes, Sonia G, Japan, Hinoki, just gorgeous. And there is something about, now these are Socoho goat, but there is something about this Hinoki set, and I am shocked to see it's still available on Beautylish. These hairs are extra high quality. You can just see how straight, smooth, silky. This one's been kept in a brush guard, so keep that in mind. It does typically flare out a bit more, but it's just beautiful. And this one, to be quite honest with you, just look at those bristles. Oh my gosh. This one, to be quite honest with you, I do use more than the Niji Pro. And even if I had to pick between jumbo bronzer, I would go with Hinoki because I do have smaller features, and this brush is just perfection. It's the perfect size but just look at the glow of those bristles. Like, they're just unworldly. Like, you could tell she definitely put some serious thought into this set. The quality is just unbelievable. And here it is compared with the Niji, just to get an idea of the size. You can see how much larger Niji is compared. And then here it is next to Sculpt 1. You can see how much larger Sculpt 1 is. And then we've got Sculpt 2. So I'd say more similarly to the Sculpt 2 in size. But yeah, I've spoken highly on that brush on my channel before, and it's just really nice. And this is the brush number 2, and this is 35 millimeters in length. Same beautiful handle. This is a very unique brush. I don't own anything like this in my collection, and you can see it has that gap in the ferrule, and it's intentional because the movement this has, it's great for under eye setting, highlight, you know, you could turn it over here, do highlight with it, and the movement is just really airy and really nice. And it has those really gorgeous bristles, the same one as brush number 1. So this set right here is probably one of my favorite Sonia G sets of all time, like especially brush number 1, this one. Oh my gosh, I love that brush. And then we have here is the soft cheek. So let me see here. So this one's 38 millimeters in length, dyed Saikoho Goat. This is another brush really loved by many. I know people really love this brush with blush. You could use it with bronzer, maybe powder, but I've also used this with some finishing powder. It's really good with that too. And honestly, there is no right or wrong way to use a brush. So if you use some of these brushes in different ways, as long as you're not using them wrongly, like dyed with creams or anything like that, I mean, whatever works for you, there's really no right or wrong way. And this is one of those brushes where it's such an interesting, unique shape in my collection personally that you really could use it for so many different purposes. Really nice. And then we have here the classic cheek. So this one's 33 millimeters in length, and it is Saikoho Goat classic cheek brush. And if you're a beginner, this would be a great brush to start with, because you could definitely use this with blush, bronzer, targeted powder if you'd like to. And it's really soft. You can see how fine those bristles are. And I have to say, Sonia really gives us such high quality for an amazing price. Even with her cost increase, she really still somehow manages to keep her brushes at a much more obtainable price point. And we can all definitely appreciate her for that, because she does not skimp on craftsmanship whatsoever, just beautiful. And then we have here is the mini cheek. So this one here is 27 millimeters in length, dyed and undyed Saikoho. This is another one I have a backup of. It's from her Sky series. And you can definitely see this one I use more. See how much more flared out it is? So that goes to show, depending on how you store and use them, they can take on different shapes, because this one has been in a brush guard. But I do still think this one has a little bit more hair bundled in. But nonetheless, I love this brush with highlight and under eye powder. Really nice for that. Honestly, one of my favorite highlight brushes of all time. Really enjoy it for that. All right, we're getting down to it. And then we have and down to the end, we got worker fans. So this one is 30 millimeters in length, and this is also the Hakatutsu goat hair. So this is the same goat hair as the Sculpt one. So here they are compared. As you can see, the Sculpt one is a lot thicker and it is larger. Quite a bit larger actually, but they are the same types of goat hair. So it really just depends on your preference. If you want a smaller, more targeted fan brush, you know, you could go with the worker fan, or if you want a larger one, go with the Sculpt one, but they're the same hair. And here they are from the top, so you can see really how much bigger the Sculpt one is. Oh, and then I'll compare it with the Sculpt 2 as well. So these two are kind of similar. But honestly, the Sculpt 2, which is now the Fundamental Fan M, I much prefer it for some reason over this one. This one's much softer. And when I don't put it in a brush guard, it does flare out a lot similarly to this one. But this one does have more hair packed in. You can see the difference in the ferrules. To the naked eye, you can really see it. Okay, and then we have from the Lotus series, this is the Lotus Cheek. So this one is 30 millimeters Saikoho Goat. And this is another one. This is the only brush I actually picked up from the Lotus set. For some reason, I don't know. Some of the other ones didn't appeal to me personally, but this was one I wanted to get just to have one from the series. Really soft. And I'll compare it with the Classic Cheek. So Classic Cheek you can see is longer. And it does look slightly thicker. Yeah, just maybe a little bit in the ferrule. But it does, this one does flare out more. But this one is actually the same brush as the Classic Cheek, just undyed. So it is a nice one if you are more of a fan of creams and liquids, then this one is definitely the way to go personally. I like having them both because it just depends on the products I'm going to use every day, each day. All right, last but not least, we have the Face 2. All right, so this one is now known as the Fundamental Soft Buffer, and it's 31 millimeters in length, Saikoho Goat. Really nice bristles. This was another one I picked up at the first launch. Really soft, and it's got the perfect density. So if you are somebody who loves and enjoys round cheek brushes, this is your brush, and it is super soft and silky. Really nice. I just love her original handles. I just think they're just so beautiful and classic. So I'm not mad to have them in the original handles, but the new handles do look really beautiful. Wow, you guys, I think I made it. So I think that is it. And I am gonna do a separate video of my Sonia G eye brushes. I just felt like this video would be too long if I included them all in one. So I'll definitely do, whenever she releases her new eye set she's gonna be coming out with, I'll definitely make sure to upload an eye brush Sonia G video separately if you guys are interested. And when I get time, I will update my description box with all these brushes, but they are, of course, all available on Beautylish. So if you are interested, of course, some of them are not available at the moment. Sonia her brushes go in and out of stock quite a bit, so definitely keep an eye on her Instagram. She has her Sweet Makeup Temptations and her Sonia G accounts on Instagram that you can follow for updates. So she's always giving us amazing brushes, always surprising us. So definitely make sure to keep an eye on that. But I hope this was helpful. I definitely wanted to get it up before these brushes sell out. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them down below. Are you guys picking up any of her new brushes that were just released? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.